All right, and we're up. Well, hello. Thank you so much to everyone who's joining me on this. It's morning for me here in New York. Let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. Um, so I decided this stream way last minute. So thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Alana. In case you didn't know, I'm a lettering artist and designer, tuning in from currently kind of cloudy, about to rain, Brooklyn, New York. And we're just gonna create a New Year's card in Adobe Fresco because one, I didn't want to do like a Christmas card per se. I wanted to do whatever holiday came after that. So that's how I landed on New Year's. And also, my art licensing portfolio has not gotten nearly as much love as I could or should have given it this year. So that's where this whole idea came from. So I'm just going to give people a little bit more time to join us. I'm gonna, ooh, and I've got a lot of windows open, so so just bear with me. Oh, there we go. And I'm pulling this up on Behance as well. For anyone who's not tuning in from YouTube, it's all good. I love doing a dual stream, so getting us up in Behance as well. So yeah. Okay. I think I've got all of my I's dotted and my T's crossed. So let me pull this up. And yeah, this is just gonna be like super chill, like super casual. So feel free to ask me questions in the chat while I'm working. And I'm just gonna be talking through my process essentially uh, through this little time we've got together. So I'll be watching both the chats if anyone wants to say hi or ask a question. And yeah, so all I have prepped for this is I created a mood board, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But I also have 3 of my current New Year's cards to show. So these are things that I created last year. So this is one of them. So very much this is the year that we're about to celebrate. So very specific, sort of fun, festive and stuff like that. And then I have this one, which you might recognize from the thumbnail. So that's what that is. And I like this one. This one is cool. I sort of like what I did with the flourishes on the ends of, the letters and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. And I also like that this one was more generic and didn't like say what the year was, so they could just sort of be repurposed easily. And then this one is just sort of more sleek. I don't know, sort of getting interesting with the happy being on a side, to be read up and down. So I just thought that was kind of interesting compositionally. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm not really feeling these. I really want to just create something different or refresh, one of these designs. So um so I created a little mood board for myself. So I have this like in the outer part of my canvas. And yeah, it's just like fun celebration, holiday sort of themed stuff, just to sort of get my mind moving and just thinking about this sort of theme in general. And I created this in Adobe Express. I don't know if any of you have used that application before, but I use that um, a lot to create little quick social media graphics and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's basically how I made that. But yeah, I'm just gonna get started on a fresh layer here. I'm going to use my drawing aid to create a quick scaled down version of my canvas. So this is a 5-inch by 7-inch canvas, which is, basic, standard, I guess, US greeting card size. Um, so that's where I got these dimensions from. So basically, I just like to start with a scaled down version of my canvas, and then I'll usually like lock this layer. So I'll just tap this down. And I need some words. So give me some ideas for some holiday or New Year's themed greeting card sayings. Because I was kind of thinking about reusing cheers to the new year, from this old card that I had. Like I said, I liked that it was generic and didn't like say the year specifically because it could just be used for any new year at any time without me having to update it personally. um, so I guess I'll just start there just to have something on my canvas. But yeah, I really just felt like going live today. I was just like, this might be the last time I go live this year. So I figured I'm like, okay, I gotta go back on and hang out with you guys because it's always so fun hanging out and just like, chilling with everybody, you know, being casual, nothing super fancy or anything. As you can see, I'm a work in progress. I don't have everything figured out, but it's all good all the same. So I'll start with cheers to the new year. Um, Happy New Year as always, generic. Sometimes I do try to push myself and think of like fun original copy because that is really good to have in your portfolio as well. If you're like, let's say, shopping your ideas around to greeting card companies and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I had the thought that I didn't want to do Happy New Year because of the letters, because new is such a short word. Um, it sort of poses a unique challenge compositionally, I think. It'll end up really big, maybe, possibly, depending on how you treat it in the composition and with other elements. So it just kind of depends, I think, on what I end up doing with it. But this is just sort of where my mind goes, um, as I'm just sort of talking myself through this piece. So, all right, let's see. So I've got cheers to New Year. Let's just start, I guess, there. I'm thinking I usually just sort of start anywhere, maybe not like a specific style. And it's like which words are going to be emphasized. Obviously, I think cheers and then New Year will be the largest. To the can be pretty minimal, like I've made them here. I've been liking to arc my letters lately in my compositions. I think it's fun, and I think it adds a little bit more of a dynamic look, I guess, to it. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't add some some script in there somehow. And like, really, this is just basically laying things out very roughly, like not really caring that much or being that attached to anything in particular, just sort of seeing where this process takes us and feeling things out. So already I'm feeling things about this. um, Maybe this needs some sort of additional elements or something so the two that doesn't feel like it's floating so much because it's just kind of sitting out there, sitting out there doing nothing. And there is way too much negative space. So this could lend itself to some sort of sitting in the center of the card, I guess. Just sort of randomly filling things in and then just, you know, when you think of New Year or a New Year party, maybe one of you or some of you are going to a New Year party. Let me know what's going on. um, but yeah, maybe like there's always fireworks and stuff like that. There's always, well, not always, I guess, depending on what kind of celebration you're having and how expensive the ticket was. There'll be champagne or something. Um, but yeah, I don't know, just like sparks and fun things shooting up through the air and all these things. Just really roughing this out. So yeah, if you're just tuning in, I'm creating a New Year's card to add to my art licensing portfolio, which has not gotten much love this year. But that's okay because I've been happily busy with other parts of my business and other parts, other kinds of projects this year, which has been great. But I still want to keep adding to my art licensing portfolio um, on occasion. So that's what we're working on now. Just making sure I'm not about to break something technologically. All right. Oh, let me just make sure got everything set. So I started with cheers to the new year just to get things started and get things going. I'm sorry, I'm having a little technical issue, but it wouldn't be live streaming without some sort of technical issue. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I fixed it. Okay, it's all good. So I think now I'm going to move on. I'll try Happy New Year. Like I said, I have some reservations about this a little bit. Okay, for this one, because it's just 3 words, I'm going to show a different approach to composition. So for the first one, I just started writing out the words right away, but you can also use boxing, so like creating literal boxes um, to just sort of give yourself an idea of where things will go. So like literally like happy new and maybe year at the bottom is arced like that or something like that. Just to give yourself a sense of where things will go without like actually drawing out all the words. I don't know that I love having new so small and de-emphasized like that, but we'll give it a look anyway. We have time. So happy. And I'm just using standard pencil brush in Adobe Fresco. Nothing super fancy or crazy. New. And then this will be on some sort of slight arc, like a reverse arc, so it scoops at the bottom. So let's see. I think it looks weird. I think it looks weird just because new is so small. It's just like that doesn't feel it doesn't feel like the emphasis is in the right spot. So I'll try something else. I don't really love deleting layers, so I'm just gonna hide it for now. Because I think deleting it is it's a little early for that. We just started, so let's try something else. Maybe we could try something on a slant. Again, feel free to ask me anything in the chat. Any questions about lettering, any questions about Adobe Fresco, any questions about my process. Let me know where you're tuning in from. You know, we've got people in the community from all over. Now, this is interesting. What did we just do? What are we doing? This could be interesting. Let's see. Let's see where this goes. So basically, after I draw the boxes, I just lower the opacity of that layer where like I drew the boxes, just to give myself a little bit of visual breathing room. Sort of makes it like tracing paper, but digitally. Okay. Are we gonna get kind of crazy? Okay, let's see. Because I was thinking, right? I was thinking, what if I made the Y really big to like sort of fill in that pocket of negative space? So let's see where my brain was going. Let's see if this made any sense. Okay, so does it just look weird? Is the question. I mean, it doesn't look awful. I know that people do it, you know, the sort of, I don't really know how to describe it. I guess this is almost like reverse alignment, like it's aligned to the right side instead of the left. Um, and I feel like I have oh, hey, Annika's in the chat. Hi, Annika. Um, she said, "Yay, are you creating cards to license these?" Yes, that's the idea, hopefully. um, yeah, Annika's tuning in from Behance. Shout out to Behance. I like to live stream to both platforms to give everyone a chance to tune in and hang out. But yes, hopefully I can license this card. I've had some of my cards on other platforms, other like e-card sites and stuff like that. So I wanna. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. see. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I'm convinced of this one, guys. Even if I like add another, because I was thinking about adding some serifs and all this other stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm convinced. Let me turn off my layer with the boxes. Hmm, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it for now. I'm not entirely convinced, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to move on. The good thing about this is just like this is just our free flowing ideation. You know, you can just let it all live on the screen and just sort of figure it out. Also wonder how making this a little bit smaller on the card will make me feel. Just a starting place. No worries. So let's see. I was thinking like something about like oh it's New Year's, let's have a beer, but like I don't like beer, so I don't want to. And also like when I think of New Year's, I don't think of beer, so I'm like even for the sake of rhyming, I don't even want to do that. So so let's just go with these two phrases. They're still perfectly fine. Um, and let's just think of a different composition for Cheers to the New Year. So, what am I going to be doing? Well, we tried an arc, we tried kind of a slant. Hmm, I don't know. We could try this one on a slant to start. Well, actually, this one had uh, a straight line on the top. So let's try angled on the top and the bottom. It's kind of interesting how composition can kind of aid the words. So cheers is like celebration and all this sort of stuff. So maybe having that angled like that will be a good starting place for that. And then, you know, to the can still be like kind of small because it's not, those words aren't super important to what we've got going on. And then now, depending on how I treat the letters, I could have New Year on one line since new is such a short word. Let's see. And it's great because we're all just figuring it out. Just figuring it out as we go along. No worries. Are there any parts of like your creative process that kind of give you anxiety or parts that you don't like as much as others? Let's see. I'm thinking, hmm, I really like to mix styles, honestly. I just think it's the most fun thing ever. But I'm thinking maybe we go with just some sort of tall, condensed type or something. Because if I'm thinking of having New Year on the same line on the bottom, I'm already thinking that it might not fit. But it's okay because we can fix it. We can fix it if we need to. Okay, let's see. Oop. Yeah. It's interesting because as I'm drawing it and I had said, "Oh, new is such a short word, like, I think it'll, like, mess things up compositionally," and it's just like, yes, it's a short word, but because of how wide the letter W is, it sort of makes it feel a little bit bigger and longer than it actually is. Um, so that's sort of something interesting to keep in mind. Um, so as you can see, it already is, like, not gonna fit probably, so let's see. It's like New Year will be a lot smaller than Cheers. So I think we're gonna need to go in a different direction for this. But that's the cool thing about creating digitally because you have so much flexibility. It's like I can just whip out my lasso tool, which is like my best friend, just grab any part of this and just start moving things around. It's like my favorite thing, seriously. Um, so let me think. Let me think for a moment. Or if anyone has any ideas for me, please let me know what you're thinking as I'm just sort of creating off the cuff here. Because sometimes what I'll do also is I'll put short words like to or in or the, and I'll stack them vertically along the side of another word. So it would be like it wouldn't be in cursive necessarily, but it would be like, let me delete these boxes. Um, something like to would be, it's a little trickier because it's two words to the. So let's see. Let me get rid of that. Hmm. I think I could get away with it being something to this effect. And we'll make this look nicer in a sec. I also can't express how happy I am that they brought like the skewing features and stuff to the transform tools in Adobe Fresco. So now when you go to transform, you can like skew your words and like distort them and do all this crazy stuff like you can in Photoshop. Game changer. I'm telling you, game changer. I was just like, wow, this makes adjusting my letters so much easier. Um, I was so happy when I saw that update. I was just like, yes. Um, that was a total sidebar. So, but anyways, okay. So now to the is to the side of new. So now I have to see if I want to do something with new, like make it shorter so it sort of fits the height of to the a little bit better, maybe. And again, I'm just gonna like skew this ever so slightly. So it just looks a little bit more angled, I guess. But we're gonna refine and redraw um, all of this stuff once we pick something. So now it makes me wonder if year being in a different style would throw things off. But we're gonna do it anyway and see how it looks. I just love that, like, I mean, there really is no right or wrong answer. Like, everyone has their sensibilities and stuff visually and stuff like that, but it's like, do what you want. Do what you like, do what you enjoy, honestly, because I, you know, I don't know, I just believe that very strongly. Okay, so I just grouped those together. Um, okay, okay, interesting. I don't hate that. We ended up somewhere, guys. We ended up somewhere. All of this sort of round and around was for something. We ended up somewhere with some sort of composition, and it's fine. Let's see. Because you can't have a Y like that and not have some sort of flourish at the end, you know? Because I have to flourish something at the end, like, it just has to happen. Um, it's kinda weird that the end of this R isn't doing something more extravagant or something, I don't know, but we'll get there when we get there. Okay, fine. So we've got some words, they're arranged. Now the question is, will I leave those words in sans serif or um, or in serif? Because I have this idea. I guess I'll show it in the next one because I just like have this letter style in my head that has these really wonky serifs. Um, well, they're not wonky. I guess they have some sort of origin or something. Um, so since we did two cheers to the new year, we're gonna do two happy new years. So um, hmm, I don't really know how to describe this. So maybe it'll just be some sort of uh, just waiting for my waiting for my snapline feature to catch up to my brain. Um, just some like kind of weird, I guess is the best way to describe it. Weird arrangement. Weird, like in the way that these letters are about to look, maybe. Oh, let me see. Okay, sure, something like this. Who knows? Um, and I think it's one of those things where you just need to see it. It's just like I just have to see it in order to know that it is what I want or not what I want. You ever feel like that? It's just like, okay, I have this idea, but I need to see it in order to know for certain if it's like ridiculous and won't work. So I'm grouping these. So literally just following these as guides. I didn't think of adding exclamation points and punctuation. Actually, now I think about it. It's like that just sort of popped in my head. Just like, oh right, maybe this would be celebratory. So like there's an exclamation point somewhere. I'll throw that in now, I guess. Shout out to all of us who forget to add punctuation to stuff. And it's like, again, you don't have to, but like I already feel like that sort of feels better compositionally because there's not so much negative space after the R. So it just like makes me feel better. Won't make me feel as better for the first one just because it's like, okay, we're already sort of running out of space on each of those sides. So oops. Um, but yeah, maybe. I don't really like that actually, so I'm just gonna leave that the way it is. So, okay. So what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of like letters that have these sharp serifs, like triangular serifs, like literally like this. I don't know why I'm thinking of that though. Like, why is that in my head? Is this some sort of celebratory style? No, probably not. Who knows? But I'm just going to follow this feeling and see where it looks or where it takes. So I'm just adding serifs to all of these letters. Little PP like that, something like that. Because now I'm thinking of um, like pieces of confetti, maybe or something. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about. I have no idea. It's late in the year, so maybe I've used up all my good ideas. Maybe I used up all my good ideas earlier in the year. Now they're all gone. Oh, what's this? Nope, don't know. Nope, don't know about that. We're just gonna keep going. Yeah, it's like letters like E. Yeah, sometimes it's like, where would the serif go there? Where would that look? Like, how would that look? Um, Someone has probably already invented a font that looks like this. Shout out to all the font designers and type designers out there. We stan. I stan. It is a skill. People do those like type at Cooper programs and all that stuff in New York. And I think they also have a type at Cooper West program as well for the West Coast in the US. So people really dive into that stuff and it's like they make some amazing things. So I stan. It's great. Should this be like funny looking? Okay, cool. I got my idea out. It's my weird confetti. I don't even know how to describe this. It just has like because I just keep seeing the shape in my head for like the celebration and the confetti and the stuff. Are you guys doing anything for the new year? Let me know if you're celebrating in any way or if there's other things that you celebrate around this time of year. I think I'm excited. I mean, I always get excited for the new year and stuff like that. And I don't know, just sort of things happening. The idea of things transitioning and changing. Do people really? I'm just like, what kind of decorations do I have up? I guess people put like, what is it, like tinsel? I guess is the the word for it. I'm just like, what's the word? Because it's like, the fuzzy, glittery. It's not glittery, but I don't know. It looks like something. I need to get a reference for it, but I don't want it to look like holiday garland essentially. But um, I'm just thinking about how to fill out the rest of this composition, and I'll revisit the others to also see how to fill this out. I guess, but I don't know that I'm entirely married to that idea. Um, Maybe. Hmm. Because it's like I said, I didn't want to have like any specific references to like this specific year because I wanted it to be generic on purpose so that I didn't have to edit the year every time. um, but I've taken art licensing courses before, and Actually, now I think about it, I have a part of the course was getting a, like, an art licensing portfolio, like, builder. So, like, with all the inspiration prompts and all this stuff, like, built in for you so that, everything was just mood boarded for you so that you could just get to creating, and you'd have a sense of, like, your color palette already and stuff like that. Um, so I'll probably get back to that. That'd probably be really helpful. And it literally goes through, like, all the holidays and all the occasions, so it's, like, really nice. Um, okay, I think I had some fun on this one over here that we just did. I'm gonna go back to this previous one and see, what else I can do with this. Again, I'm not sure if I wanna do a sans serif or a serif style. I don't know. I don't know, but I'll just, actually, I'm not gonna redraw anything. The sentiment is essentially the same, just like getting some sort of composition filler. Um, Let me see, because I just feel like I like this composition the best, the third one. Um, Feel free to vote for your favorite. Um, but yeah, I have no idea. It's definitely not the first one. I just feel like the second one, like I said, new being so de-emphasized just throws off everything for me. It's like happy year, and then like new is like squunched. um, and yeah, I don't super favor that. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with my gut here. Um, so I guess I could quickly see, um, and add some serifs to this because there's all sorts of serif styles that you can add, um, to letters. So this is like more of a slab serif style, just sort of straight blocks. Oh, hello, clever Devlin, tuning in from Behance. Thanks. Both the bottom ones look nice. Yeah, I feel like those are the most realized, so I agree. Thank you. um, so let me see. A little bit of a serif there. Let's see. And this is also something. It's like I feel like it doesn't really. Well, actually. Oh, I was supposed to be like, oh, I don't think the serifs make a difference. We're like, oh, I think I'm kind of starting to change my mind. I think I'm starting to change my mind. Um, that's funny. Uh, hmm, Interesting. Very interesting. Mm. Yes, if the question is ever, am I indecisive? Do I really have these ponderings when I'm alone creating by myself, not live streaming? Yes, the process is all the same. I am this weird. So, okay, at the moment, I'm not hating the serifs. So I guess the serifs can stay. I'm just grouping these, tapping my little touch shortcut button on the left side here, to do a multi-select. And all right, this is where we've ended up with our compositional exploration, with two phrases because I couldn't be more creative. I couldn't think of anything else, okay? But that's okay. So, once I have selected my composition, I am going to choose this third one on the bottom. Boom, boom, boom. I think nice. And now we are going to move along to uh, refining this choice. So I've just got this grouped. I'm just going to start turning off the layers that I will not be using. Because like I said, I don't like deleting layers or anything like that. I get an irrational fear that I will just need them later for something somehow. I'm trying to see. Okay, let me see. Unlock. I just want my when I scale this up, I want it to be pretty good in there. All right, there we go. Nice and lined up. Okay, cool. So the cool thing about this is that your under sketch, doesn't have to be super amazing because that's what this next part of the process is for, which is the refining stage. So I just lowered the opacity of this layer, so I'm not super fixated on it. I'm gonna pull up my drawing aids at the bottom to grab my ruler, and I'm just gonna start drawing some straight lines so I can get my guides down. And this will help me to make sure that everything is nicely aligned because as we're refining and adding more detail, we do want our letters to be resting, you know, on a good baseline, we've got good cap height line. And note, like, I'm just drawing it once essentially and just sort of duplicating it. If you are just tuning in, I am creating a New Year's card in Adobe Fresco to add to my art licensing portfolio. I, in my mind, Christmas and all of that is already like here essentially. So it's just like, what's the next thing? New Year's. So that's basically how I ended up on deciding to do a New Year's card. Um, but yeah, just having a chill stream. Let me know where you're tuning in from, what you're doing today, any questions you might have, or anything you want to share. I'm all ears. But yeah, it's been a little bit since I've gotten on this stream. The plan for the new year, huh? You see, we're getting into New Year's resolutions. The plan for the new year is to have a, at least a bi-weekly stream. Okay, maybe I can't do it every week, but at least a bi-weekly stream. So every 2 weeks on the AJF Design Studio YouTube channel and on my Behance to have a stream. So at least two a month. Um, just because it's like fun and a cool way to keep up with everyone and just like hang out in real time. So, yeah, I've got my guidelines drawn. So that's great. And now we're just going to work on refining this. So, I'm still using my pencil, my basic pencil brush. Um, I'll up my smoothing just to make my line work a bit tighter. But yeah, we're just going to essentially start tracing and going over these letters and making them neater and nicer and refining them. That's what this part of the process is for. It's literally the refining stage. And that's why it's like you don't have to worry about your initial like composition sketches being like all crunchy and like weird looking because like we're going to fix them anyway. So it's fine. Ooh, Clever Devlin says, I just love fresco. It's great for the type of work you're doing. Yeah, yeah, thank you. I super agree. I think it's great. Um, been using it for a little bit, so it has become my main program for creating my digital artwork, my personal work, my client work. Everything goes through Fresco. So I'm a happy camper using this program for sure. Not sure if any of you are new to Fresco or if it is also like your main digital art program, but I'm using an iPad Pro 12.9 inch. So that's just my go-to setup and my go-to program. And then like all the other um, Adobe iPad programs as well. I use those. So Photoshop on the iPad I use and Illustrator on the iPad. I think they've come a long way and they get better with each update. So I'm like, awesome. Which is why I make so many YouTube videos about them and why I make so many tutorial videos about them. Because they're still relatively new. So I, it's like become my favorite thing, like learning about and using these different art programs. And notice I just cheated, but it's like not cheating, but I just literally duplicated my E instead of redrawing it because that's the beauty of working digitally. You can just do little shortcuts like that. Um, work smarter, not harder. Also, it's the end of the year, so shouldn't be working that hard. Got to wind down, wrap up, you know, don't drive ourselves crazy. Just go with the flow. Hopefully, no one's chasing down any unpaid invoices. My heart goes out to you. Freelance life, independent contractor life, trying to wrap things up for the end of the year. I get it. I just love the smoothing tool so much. It just it makes it look like I'm doing this so effortlessly. But nope, I'm getting a lot of help from that 100% setting on the on the smoothing tool. So don't think that I've just got it like that. Trust me, I am not that good or that cool. All right, so we've got our first word here. Just like bare bones skeleton, giving an idea. What's the style of the lettering? Where is it sitting on um, in our composition, on our guides and stuff like that? Awesome stuff. Now, because to the is where it is, I was going to align them vertically initially, but I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So to the could be in script. Um, so I'm going to change it to be script and see how I feel about that. Because sometimes I just think to myself, I'm like, when I'm mixing styles, sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, does it look weird that just one word is a different style, kind of thing? Like when you have multiple words in the phrase or whatever, or in the composition, I'm just like, am I? is this making sense visually? Because when I think of it, it's just like the word that is literally the only word in that style, does it stand out in a weird way? Because mixing styles is a form of creating emphasis. So I just sort of keep that in mind. I try to think of it from other people's perspectives because um, I don't want it to communicate poorly or not in the best way that I would want, I guess. So, well, just things that go through my head. Okay. Oh, hello. I know I'd asked before, but I'm still wondering if anyone has New Year's resolutions or if you're just like, no, I don't create resolutions just because the year is different. I totally respect that. I like the idea of resolutions for any time of year. So it doesn't have to be because it's, January 1st or whatever. But I do strongly buy into the idea of like the newness and the, whatever. So I definitely get it. I definitely get it. But I have set resolutions and goals in the middle of the year, towards the end. So everyone does it differently. And that's totally fine too. Let me see. Okie dokie. So, all right. So we've got that going, figuring it out. I think also when you're in the refining stage, because you make the design bigger, maybe it's easier, maybe just for me, to see the full range of possibilities, I guess, with the wording and the lettering and stuff like that. Mm, is anyone going to any fun events or have you gone to any already? I feel like every week there's been some kind of party or meetup or I'm going to an ugly sweater an ugly sweater thing party at my friend's house, and even though I will admit I don't think any of my sweaters are ugly, and I haven't bought any that were specifically for ugly sweater parties. Like I just keep going in the same sweater every year, and I'm just like, well, I don't think this is ugly, but I just sort of stand there. I'm just like, I really don't want to. I really don't like the idea of buying something because it is ugly. It's like I usually actually try to do the opposite. Try to buy it because it looks good. Though I will admit some of them are kind of funny. So I'm like, okay. I think it's kind of funny. Okay, so let me take off my guides and then I'll turn off that. Okay, so this is what we've got in terms of our more refined um, lettering. So this is where we're shaping up. Oh, and we're 1 hour in, so that's cool. Um, I feel like in my mind, it's just like if someone asked me, like, "Oh, how long does it take to create a lettering piece?" I'm just like, "I don't know." Just like, well, what does it entail? Like, it kind of depends entirely on what's going on. So, if you recall, I had changed the to the to script because I just felt like year being the only thing in script felt a little weird. But now I think that to the I only think it looks a little weird because it feels a little floaty. Like, I think, let's see if I can pull up my original sketch. Okay, so I want to see if I had any, because yeah, I could put some elements around there, but the wording for to the being originally in a sans serif, it took up more space visually, so it filled out more of that negative space next to new. And I think that's what's throwing me off. So I think I'll switch it back to being sans serif. Um, so then I can better sort of compare them, I guess. Let's see. And this is just the dance that we dance, creating anything, I think. Like this sort of applies to lettering, it applies to just any sort of form of illustration and just sort of creating things and looking at it with a somewhat critical eye and just being like, does this work the best? All right, let's turn that off and turn this off. Eh, I'm at this sort of take it or leave it space in my mind. I do want to adjust some of my spacing. So I'm just using like this little nudge tool and I'm like literally just tapping that arrow to just adjust my spacing a bit. Could also experiment with that being a little bit smaller. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. Okay, so now I'm just going to round this out with, you know, more surrounding elements and such. So I had some confetti pieces going around. No one like, well, I guess there's the ball drop, and that's like a huge piece of confetti. Oh my gosh. I guess there's like the ball drop in New York City, which I will never go to, but it's like, wow, that's really chaotic and does not feel like a celebration that I would want to be a part of. Too many people. But yeah, like I've been to New Year's parties and stuff like that, cute stuff. It was cute. It was cool. It was fine. I sort of did like these little spirals that I kind of liked from an old card that I did. Just like different kinds of just like thinking of like party poppers, like those little you pull the string and it like creates a little whatever all over the floor. AKA kind of makes a mess, but it's a party, so it's okay. Just sort of thinking about things floating and cascading through the air and falling. But yeah, I'm in like a real, I'm ready for things to just slow down a bit these last couple of weeks of the month and just give me some hot chocolate, just some, I don't know, a lo-fi playlist. They have lo-fi everything, so it's like there's holiday lo-fi. So you can listen to it in whatever genre you want. Um, but yeah, I don't know, I'm just, like, ready for things to just slow down a little bit. I've been thinking about my goals and all this stuff. I have a new, YouTube video coming out. What's today? Thursday? If it's not up tomorrow, it'll be up Saturday, but it should be up tomorrow, about things that freelancers need to do before the new year. So I'm looking forward to you guys seeing that, so you can get a look into my brain about, like, how I think of ending the year and making sure that, like, I've got everything squared away and so I'm not, like, I don't know, starting the new year off not feeling ready to just dive in, you know? I don't wanna have to start the new year feeling like, "Oh, I should have done this a few weeks ago," kind of. Um, but just, like, some things like, what is it? Like, I already bought a new planner, making sure I'm doing my file backups. Y'all, if you aren't doing file backups, go back up your files, like, now. Just do it. Do it now. Keep the stream up. But back up your files, please, for the love of God. Because it's like you just, like, accumulate so many files over the course of the year. It's, like, insane. You don't even realize how many, um, you have, and then God forbid you can't, like, properly archive your work, so then, like, something goes missing or something. And I'm speaking from experience, by the way. Like, I'm just saying this because I've been hurt before. Okay, my files have been corrupted, gone missing. Oh, I thought it was there and it's not. Like, I don't know. Um, so please do yourself a favor and back up your files because it's a sad time. But um, but yeah, okay. Feeling a little lopsided with some of this confetti, but it's okay. I can fix it. This is again just to give me a generalized idea of how and where all this stuff goes and how things feel. But yeah, I don't absolutely despise this, so that's already a great feeling. So now you might be asking, what do you do next? Great question. Um, One, I'm going to be weird and double check. So the I moved I moved some of my words a little bit for my spacing. Yeah, I was thinking just like some of my the apex and, the bottoms of my letters aren't like hitting all the way. I kind of stopped a little short, so like they feel small, like just like optically too small a little bit. Like this doesn't go all the way up. So I'm like, what is my W doing? But that's just me being a little finicky and being a little particular. My N, a little weird. Okay, cool. Cool. We are a little over an hour in, and we kind of have something. We kind of have something going here. Great, wonderful, lovely. Super proud of us. Um, some other things we could explore quickly before changing our brush. Actually, I don't want that to be part of it. To be before changing our brush over and starting to create more of the final lettering, I was thinking um, what I felt or how I felt about possibly making these letters a little bit thicker. So I just kind of fake it by doubling the layer over and just sort of moving it. So obviously where the serifs double, I would erase those, but just like seeing how I felt about the way that looked being a little bit thicker. Um, and in this alternate universe too, that I guess could move over a little bit so it doesn't feel floaty, as I say. um, hmm, interesting. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. And then things like year, we could experiment with more of like a calligraphic, script style where there's varied widths along the pressures of the wording. Um, and we could simulate that pretty easily in this program with a pressure sensitive brush. So, not worried about that. Oh, okay, let me see. But yeah, that kind of just sort of takes it someplace else. Sort of interesting. Um, and also, most of the time, I end up doing some sort of 3D extrusion a little bit. It's not always super pronounced, but I do like to do that a lot. So we'll get more experimental, I guess, or interesting with this as we move towards our finalized lettering. So again, we're just grouping everything, starting a new layer, and how lazy do I want to be? I'm like, these guides are still pretty okay. I'm just going to adjust some things, move them around a little bit using my lasso tool, just adjust ever so slightly. So that they line up a little bit better to what I actually have on screen now. Okay, cool. I feel okay about that. All right, see, there we go. Saved ourselves some time drawing the guides again. So now I'm going to change my brush for the first time in doing this whole thing. So I've just been using the pencil brush this whole time. So as you can see, I've got a lot of favorited brushes here. They're all my favorites. But no, seriously, I have a lot of favorite brushes here. Some that I like, that I guess would be sort of just like a sort of standard basic, no frills, but still very good, would be like the hard round brush. So just like a nice dark, line, opaque. Let me see. I'll lock that layer. So that's a good one. Um, what's another good one that I like? I also like the comics letterer brush. I will admit that I kind of fangirled really hard. Wow, it's really thick. Like my brush size is really big. But I fangirled a little bit when I saw that there was a lettering category within Fresco. So I was just like, wow. So the comics letterer is in there. And then one of my personal favorites is the small chisel brush. Um, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So now I just have to choose which brush I want to use for my lettering. So Mm, I mean, hard round will get you there, but I'm thinking because my lettering is a slab serif style, I might want something with more blunt ends. Um, I could just, erase them off, which is usually what I do. Um, okay, let's start there. If we want to make an adjustment, we always can. Okay, that is too small. You can't always draw the line the first time. And that's why two finger tab undo exists and all that fun stuff. And so this is a little off. The cool thing about letters like C and O is that they actually should peak just slightly over your cap height line and just slightly below your baseline um, for overshoot, just for um, a more optically correct looking size in relation to the other letters because they are rounded. You know what? Am I going to do my serifs on a separate layer? I think I will. Um, so I don't, I'm not like freaking out or anything about the fact that it goes above and below a little bit because that's exactly what I want. No, I'm going to draw the other serifs on a separate layer though. It's like I separate certain elements of the wording just to give myself a little bit more breathing room for when I will inevitably need to do edits because I'm always editing something. It's like you think that everything is, perfect and all this stuff, but it's just like, no, actually, I came to the end of the process and I actually didn't like it that much in the end. So I'm giving myself some breathing room, some space. All right, I might be extending a little too far. Well, thank you to everyone who's been hanging out with me today. I usually stream, I've always done my streams at 11 a.m., usually EST, Eastern Standard Time, but today I have a little bit more on my schedule. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to bump the stream up to 10 a.m. and hopefully some people can still hang out. And I am grateful to everyone who's tuning in or catching the replay because trust me, I get it. We want to be at everything, but it's just not possible. So, but if you did have time in your schedule and you chose to tune in live, I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm redoing that are. You ever just do one part and you just get super fixated and it's like it's like, well, I'm just gonna redo it as many times as I need to. I guess I don't know how I feel about that shape anymore. It's like, okay, you come out straight a little bit and then you turn. And then it's like, it just looks super flat. I'm like, that's not fun looking. But like I said, I know I'm like hyper fixating on like this one part. And it's like, yes, we're approaching our finalized letters, but again, we can always adjust. So it's like, hey, it's fine. You can just go and come back to it later. So that might be what we end up doing. Let's see. Hmm. Is anybody working right now? Rocking out to any music? Enjoying some vibes? Would love to know what you're up to these days, how you're rounding out your year. Heck, maybe you're already on vacation. Good for you. Hmm. All right. Again, keeping my serif layer separate. I'm actually going to probably need to elongate these a little bit more to account for the part that I'm going to chop off because I'm going to square all of these off. So, yeah, have to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, okie dokie. And then we've got this. And then it's like you start accumulating so many layers and you start duplicating so much that your layer count kind of starts going crazy a little bit. So I'm guilty of it. I'm sure we're all guilty of it a little bit. And that's totally fine. Oh my goodness, what is happening? Wait, what is this? Okay, let's see. Telling you, the lasso tool, it'll get you there. All right, these are the serifs for my W. To make sure my W is a little bit down. Um, okay, so I still need serifs for my C and for my H. So let's go back. I'm gonna have to get reorganized because now I just have a bunch of black, like, hash marks everywhere. It's just like, what letter is this for? I don't remember. But, like, also, I guess I could, in theory, just group them all on one layer. I guess I'll just do that and then just merge the layer after. So then it'll just be on one layer and it won't be that big of a deal. Oh, I forgot the little one for the S. Oh, okay. Again, with the touch shortcut, just selecting everything, making sure that I have all my serifs selected. I think we've got them. It's like in some cases, they're going to end up being attached to the actual letter form. So it's like, okay, you have to sort of choose. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. I missed one of them, but that's okay. I missed this one. I'm like going in surgically with the lasso tool to fix it. All right, so starting to square some of these off. Some of these I already didn't make long enough to be able to cut, so just need like a little bit more to work with. So just, okay. So for things like the C, I'm gonna have to go back and erase other parts of that, but for now, let's see. It's sort of easy to just get like kind of lost in the process a little bit and just be like, just like really zen with it, become one with the eraser tool. And like I said before, there are other brushes that have a blunt edge, that I could have used, but they have some texture to them and other attributes that I don't want to introduce just yet. Um, so I was just like really focusing on it just being black, opaque, um, no variance in pressure sensitivity. But the cool thing is that also you can go into your brush settings and make additional modifications to any of your brushes in Fresco, um, if that is what you want to do. And I've done that before. Um, or even if you have brushes in Photoshop, for example, that you want to use, you can use them in Fresco as well. Those are compatible. Just to let you know, you have some options in terms of the kinds of brushes that you can use in Fresco, which is really nice and really helpful. So squaring this off. Oh, and then, oh, where'd I go? Oh, I went all the way down. All right. Now we're just getting rid of any other rounded parts of our letters for the sake of visual consistency across the letter forms, but we can also make those refinements a little bit later as well. That makes me wonder. Ooh, I really like I really like sharing my process and having you guys tune in and watch because it's just like, oh, I don't know, maybe I do something that you want to incorporate into your process, or if people have shared with me parts of their process that's like helpful and insightful for me. So I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Just like a different perspective is always nice and sort of helpful. It's all thanks to good old technology. And also, I know that the more I do these streams, the better they'll get, and I'll be able to invest more into the whole experience of it for you all as well. So it'll just get better and better each time. So now we're at year. So let me see. I'm doing this all in like a 22 point brush size. Okay. Like I did with the serifs, whenever I have lettering with like script overlapping lines, I segment them into different layers just to make editing easier. So it's like I'm not erasing the entire letter. I'm just erasing one section of it. All right. That's a start. You know, what I didn't do is I didn't draw a guideline for the slant of my script letters. Oops. It's okay. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. But if my letters end up looking kind of wonky, it will be because of that. I'm just drawing a basic slant, a diagonal line to make sure that the the stress and the slant is consistent across your script letters. And it's like, yeah, you can sort of ballpark it the way I am right now. Or or you could be better than me and just draw the guides so you don't have to guess. It's like I drew this A so large. So I'm just like, eh. All right, so that connection between the E and the A is not super smooth. So we're just going to redo that. And the A is kind of lumpy. It has a little bit of a hump. But that's okay. We get to go back and try again. It's like just because art is made digitally doesn't mean it's perfect or without flaw. And I think honestly, depending on what you're doing, I guess, or your approach personally, it's nice to have the imperfections. um, because that's the signal of like, ooh, a human made that. Ooh, hot button topic. AI art, let's talk about it. um, but seriously, like you know, this idea of hand lettering and all this stuff, like the charm of it is, it's made by hand, has that sort of human touch to it. It's That's sort of what makes it sort of, makes it, like I said, charming and nice. So, oh goodness. Depending on how big of an error I've made, I'll just like make my brush size super small and then just go back in and just sort of fill things in. It's like this loop isn't perfectly looped or anything, but that's okay. That is okay. All right, we're chugging along here. I'm going to put these on and group them into the same layer. Now for like these other elements, so for the small chisel brush, I wanted to just show this quickly because I just think it's like the most fun thing ever. It's like it just looks so ribbon-like. I just love it so much. I think it's like the best thing ever. Like this is my secret. My secret to creating like fun ribbon like looking loops and stuff like that when I do like ribbon lettering and stuff like that. Sometimes just about finding like that one brush, that just really does it for you. And for me, it's the small chisel brush. I think it's expertly crafted. Probably Kyle T. Webster made this one too because he's made like so many brushes. Um, oh, actually, he's got some holiday brushes. I think. Did I add those already? I don't think I did. Let's see. Oh, the fall brushes. Okay, let me add those. I didn't add those yet. Interesting. But yeah, every season he releases a new brush pack, so make sure that you have it downloaded so you can enjoy the new brushes. Ooh, what is that? Oh, I don't think I want that one for this. That's got some fun texture to it. Let me see. Well, if I can make it any smaller. I don't know. I wanted the confetti to have a little bit something, something to it. It's kind of fun. Looks kind of crunchy. Looks kind of crunchy, like it has something going on. I guess also maybe I shouldn't be super rigid, maybe with the way that looks too, since it is supposed to look a little bit more organic. Um, Maybe that's where my distortion tool could help. Actually, mm, liquefy tool, liquefy tool. That's the answer to everything. But if I make my brush smaller, okay, let's try this again. But like you see that, you can just sort of add like sort of the wrinkle and the wiggle to it a little bit. So it just looks a little messier and more organic. That's an idea, but we'll revisit that in a sec. Can you see I'm having fun? I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. But yeah, if you didn't know about the liquify tools, now you know. They're in Fresco. They are in Photoshop. So have fun with those. When they added those, I also lost it a little bit because I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is exactly what I've been looking for. So I'm really happy that they added those. I'm going back to my recent brushes category because this will let me know all of the brushes that I've used in this document so far. So I don't have to go through the list trying to remember what I've used. So use your recent brushes category if you have a goldfish memory like me. Also, if you have any tips for improving memory, I've I've done some of those brain games before, but I don't know. You have to pay for those. They make you pay for those. And shout out to the artisans of those things and the people who have created those programs, but I'm not going to pay for it on a subscription basis. Can't even ensure that I will use it that much to justify the purchase. Hmm. I really love this Syrah brush as well because of the texture. It's almost like noise. Yeah, it's like this crinkly, noisy texture, and I just love that. I don't know. I was just thinking. I don't know. There's just something really charming about the way that looks to me. Um, Let me do that again, but like nicer. Oh my goodness. We are almost at 2 hours on the stream. Thank you to all of you who have tuned in at any point. Hopefully, you have enjoyed hanging out. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. Post weekly videos, tutorials, and I've got a new video coming up this week as well. Oh, thanks, Devlin. Lovely work. Thank you so much. But yeah, the story of how I got on YouTube is sort of a silly one, maybe funny one. But it wasn't intentional. Ooh, sure, Devlin. This is pop the link to the YouTube channel in the Behance chat. But I got into YouTube because I was trying to include a video of something that I did. I don't remember. Um, in an email into my newsletter, and they wouldn't let me do it unless it was like in the form of like a Vimeo or a YouTube or something. And I was just like, okay. So I created a YouTube channel just so that I could upload the link to my email subscribers. Um, and from there, I was just like, what if we just kept uploading? What if we just did it? And that's the silly story of how I ended up with the YouTube channel. And now we have almost 4,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to you all out there. I'm completely blown away, completely floored that that we're here. I mean, I can't believe it. Um, and just for some perspective, I always love saying this, but it's true. Like this time last year, I think I had like less than 200 subscribers. Like, so the growth this year has been tremendous, and I really can't can't thank anyone except for all of you who tune in and support and leave lovely comments and have subscribed. So I'm just I'm very grateful, grateful to all of you. And that's why we're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going and keep doing it and seeing what happens. So now I'm just like, you know, squaring off these little corners here. Yeah, it's a little like kind of OCD maybe, but I'm just like, they're round and they should be pointy. So because we're coming up on 2 hours, um, I will not be finishing this piece on this stream. But if you follow me on my social media, on Instagram, you'll be able to see the final result of this card design. I hate to do it to you guys. I hate the added suspense, but it is kind of fun for me because then we get to have a big reveal. But you all will be able to say that you were there from the beginning as it was being created. So I think that is something special because you guys have been able to see all of the not so great ideas that came before this one. When I first started getting into lettering and stuff, I was doing everything analog. So I wasn't using an iPad, like no one was using iPads at that time and all this stuff. So I was just doing everything on tracing paper and possibly hundreds, maybe over the years, thousands of sheets of just copy paper um, from my home printer. Sure, that drove my family crazy. Sorry, but I needed it. I would just go through so much paper because I'm just like, well, once you use the paper, it's kind of ruined. I don't know. Because I wouldn't always use pencil, so I would use markers and ink and all this stuff, so it would just get messed up. So I would just be like, well, guess we gotta just use more paper and more paper, and before you know it, it just like spirals out of control. Yes, I did have sketchbooks too, but those would get filled up kind of fast. And in terms of the newspaper, I wish I had held on to it a little bit longer. But at this point in my life, I just don't have the physical space or the emotional capacity to hold on to all of those early explorations, although they will always be very dear to me and to my journey. Um, it's a lot. All right. Something about this is throwing me off, and I'm going to ignore it for a second. So, how are we feeling? Do we feel like we made the right choice? Do we feel like we made the right choice with these letters? Sometimes I'll get as far as this and then change it anyway, still. Like just change everything. Just be like, hey, I know what I said and I know what I did, but what if all of it was different? And I just get kind of crazy like that because I don't know. I think we owe it to ourselves to explore. There's no harm in trying something different or creating some weird letter form or something based on something random you saw. Ooh, that's a good question, Devlin. They asked, "You'll print this as a card. Will you hand color or personalize it after?" That's a good question. So the idea for this is to add it to my art licensing portfolio. So I'm hoping that a company will be able to rent this design from me and put it on their cards, and I'll get royalties from it. That's the goal. I will be coloring it. I'll be doing all of that digitally. Um, so yes, I will be coloring it. I don't have a printer. So even though I would love to print it, I don't have a printer. If anyone has printer recommendations, let me know because that is on my list of things to purchase in the new year. But but yeah, trust me, I would go through ink and everything like crazy if I had a printer. I used to have this really nice Epson printer um, that I used back in college, um, but then I moved out, so that was like the family printer. Um, but I really liked that one. Everyone says that the what is it, the Eco Tank by Epson, I think it's called, is really good. Um, but I've been putting it off. I've been putting off buying a printer because I'm like, I don't want to buy the wrong one. Mm. Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I could definitely print some off at a copier or at like a like Staples or something like that. Um, I really do like sending cards and giving cards and stuff like that. I really like sending mail, what I call happy mail. It's just like it's not a bill, it's not anything bad. It's just a card that says you're awesome or says happy holidays or whatever. um, so I do like sending mail to people. Yeah. Oh yes, so I'm just finishing off squaring this off. I could have done this possibly in an easier way. Like I'd mentioned, like, hey, if you had just picked a different brush in the beginning, you wouldn't be doing this part. But this is literally what I would do. So, but yeah, Devlin, you say you could trace it off your screen. I mean, honestly, I would be too afraid to do that just because this iPad, these iPads are expensive, and I sort of press a little hard. I think so. I don't think I would be gentle enough. Like, obviously, I'd be like aware that, like, hey, this is an iPad, don't press so hard, but like, I wouldn't be pressing as hard as I feel like I would like or like need to, and then I would get in my head about it, and then I wouldn't want to do it. Oh, what's this? Is that from this? Is that from this? Oh, I don't know what that is. Don't you love it when there's a random mark on your screen? You don't know what it is or where it's from. I'm just gonna cover it like that. Perfect. I fixed it. Okay. I love it. We stand. We stand. We stand the chaos. Okay, cool. So I've got oh, I thought I had what did I do? Oh, okay, that was all of my square offs. So that's good. Okay. And then I'm just going to make sure that all of my little confetti and whirly twirlies and all of these things are on a separate layer as well. Okay. I mean, this is where we're ending things off. We're able to refine our letter forms, get our illustrations, roughed out, and some brush ideas and different kind of brushes and fresco. Really good stuff. Really awesome. Super, super duper cool. So, thank you so much for spending any amount of time with me on the stream today. It's been super fun, just chilling, hanging out, chatting with you guys. And hopefully, if you can catch the replay, catch the replay. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of the day, holiday season, New Year's, the whole thing. Let me know in a comment of this video any kinds of resolutions that you're setting, any kinds of ways that you're celebrating this time of year. I would love to know. All right. I will see you guys in the next one. And until then, bye.